Hey y'all, this is Savannah Rae, and you're listening to Hank's Corner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hank's Corner. I am Hank Jr., your host. I'm part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and now podcasting. And I'm so excited about my next guest here on Hank's Corner. She is one of the hottest rising stars out there in the music industry. Last year alone, she had over 800,000 streams on Spotify, recently featured on magazines such as Popstar and Maverick Magazine. Please welcome your typical Texas girl, Savannah Rae. Savannah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. And I had to throw in the typical Texas girl, not only because it's your song, but you are from my home state of Texas, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I'm from San Antonio. I'm actually from a little town right outside called Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
That's born and raised.
So for those that have been following me know that I'm from South Texas, mostly Corpus Christi is where I lived. And I know that you've been out that way a couple times in that general area. But tell me, where are you actually calling in from today?
So today I'm in Nashville, over here in Music City at a friend's little studio, and we've been writing all day, but I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you. And
Yeah.
have you made Nashville your home?
Yeah, so I moved to Nashville a few years ago, and it's a crazy city. As you know, it's a wild old place, but it is super fun, and just the opportunities are endless here. It's a really great place for songwriters and people in country music, people maybe not in country music. There's actually a ton of music here, not just country. So it's a really awesome city filled with some really cool people for sure.
Now, you said there's a lot of opportunities. Now, there is a lot in Texas. I mean, you do definitely got a big music scene over there. But what compelled you specifically, or maybe not, just kind of in general as a dream? What made you want to go to Nashville?
Yeah, I mean, I love Texas, home state. Always going to go back and play some shows. I miss it quite often, but there's not a whole lot of music business. The side of the business, it's just not there. All the major record labels, all the major music companies are based in Nashville. They're not really based in Texas. So Texas is great to go back and tour, which I do often. Like I said, I'm from there. It's a great time. But there's just certain things about Nashville that is really compelling, maybe to people that are trying to do music, up and comers, people that have lived here for 10 years. There's writers rounds. There's always opportunities to write with other people. Like I said, I just got done with a write about 30 minutes before this. There's always something going on for music, always some sort of networking, always meeting somebody new every single night. It's always bustling, which is so great. And I think, like I said before, the opportunities are endless here as far as music is concerned, for sure.
Yeah, and as great as us Texans think Texas is, I mean, it is a huge state. So, part of that, with Nashville, it's a little bit more condensed. You can have everything right there, as opposed to going from San Antonio to Houston and then Austin, all those different places. But I broadcast out of Tampa, Florida. That's where I am now, and I know you've had a lot of connections here in Florida because I've seen you here. Last year, you were at the Strawberry Festival, which I missed, unfortunately. I wish I got a chance to see you. But what is your connection to Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I used to live in Florida actually for a little bit. I lived in Cocoa Beach, so kind of the opposite from you, opposite side
Mhm.
from you. But I've always really liked Florida. Florida has always been super welcoming. The crowds that we've encountered there have been really fantastic. And of course, I mean, who doesn't love the beach? So Florida is always such a fun time. And hopefully we can get back there this year as much as we did last year. Because I know we were there pretty often last year. So hopefully we can get back for sure.
Yeah, and if you need any venues here in Tampa, you just let me know. I can make that happen for you.
Oh,
But
well,
but
definitely.
but I mean I did see you out there. You were at Universal and Disney,
Oh, yeah.
and you even got to sing for somebody very famous, the national anthem.
Yes. That was a pretty crazy experience. So I got to sing for Donald Trump and then Carrie Lake. at one of, I don't even know what to call it. It's sort of like a benefit event fundraiser for Carrie back when she was, running for governor of Arizona. And I was invited to sing the national anthem and a few other songs, specifically my military song, my military ballad called Little Soldier. They really, really love that song. And, they're all huge proponents of veterans and military as well. So it was really special to be able to share that. And of course, I'm an independent artist. That's not exactly an opportunity that a lot of independent artists get, much less huge signed artists get to perform for a former president of the United States, which, I mean, it's a very controversial person for sure. But I think,
but nevertheless,
doubt,
the position itself as the president, no matter who holds it, to be able to play for that office is just amazing. And that is such a great thing that you got to do.
Thank you. Yeah. Like I said, no matter how you feel, it's still such an honor, for anybody to be in that position. So that was for sure one of the highlights of my year last year. Probably one of the highlights of my career, but
well, it's not going to stop there. I know. And I can tell because, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, you are rising really fast. And I know that you're going to do a lot more stuff. And especially when you're doing collaborations with people like Georgette Jones. Tell us a little bit about that. Your latest single, Till I Can Make It on My Own.
Right. So Georgette is the daughter of George Jones and Tammy Wynette. And my producer at the time, he knew both of us and said, "Hey, what do you think about, covering a Tammy Wynette song?" I said, "Okay, sure, why not? That's cool. That's awesome. Be something that I'd be interested in." And then he brought it to my attention, it's Georgette. She'd be interested in doing it with me. So awesome, fantastic. And then we came up, with the idea of doing half of it in Spanish as well, which just opens up a whole new world. And that's not really something that I see a lot of the times, is, covering classic country songs and turning them Spanglish. That's not really a thing that's really happening in today's country music. So it was just a whole new world for the both of us, and to have someone on that track such as Georgette, country music royalty, a part of that family, is so awesome, and of course is an honor. And we shot a music video for it not too long ago, about a couple weeks ago. So I'm very excited to see the finished product, and I think we got something really, really fun.
Well, we'll definitely can't wait to see that. And, I'm going to be promoting it on my New Music Friday post when that does come out. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and play Till I Can Make It on My Own.
I'll need time to get you off my mind, and I may sometimes bother you, trying to be in touch with you, even ask too much of you from time to time. Ahora y después, Dios lo sabe, necesitaré hasta que perderte sea normal. Déjame usarte así hasta que lo haga por mí. I'll get by, but no matter how I try, there'll be times I'll call. Chances are my tears will fall, and I'll have no pride at all from time to time. But they say, oh, there'll be a brighter day, but till then I'll lean on you. That's all I mean to do, till I can make it on my own. Surely someday I'll look up and see the morning sun, not another lonely night behind me. Then I'll know I'm over you and I'm a crying star. No more hurting memories can find me. But till then, Lord, you know I'm gonna need a friend till I get used to losing you. Let me keep on using you hasta que lo haga por mí, till I can make it on my own.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I am Hank Jr. here with my special guest, Savannah Rae, and you heard her latest single, Till I Can Make It On My Own, duet that she did with Georgette Jones. And let me talk a little bit real quickly about the Spanish thing. So, are you fluent in Spanish?
So, yes and no. What I speak is a Spanglish version of Spanish in
A
where I'm
Tex-Mex?
from. Yeah, where I'm from in, San Antonio, it's very slang. It's very not proper. And so I'm actually actively learning proper Spanish because, if I want to really dive into that section of my heritage, which I do, I want people across the world to be able to understand what I'm saying. So it's definitely something that I am actively pursuing. So half and half, I would say.
Yeah, and you're probably one of the few people that I can ask this to. I'm getting close to my 100th episode, but nevertheless, you're one of the few that I can ask this to. Was music like Tejano music something of your influences?
Oh, yeah, I think for sure. Selena, of course, I'm always am going to give her all the props because she was so influential in my, young music listening that I for sure have taken a little bit of inspiration from her, in my new songs. And especially being from where I'm from, San Antonio, that's so prevalent down there. It really is. It's pretty much in everything that we do. Like that is a very Hispanic city, and I'm Hispanic, so it's like it just goes hand in hand. It's how I was raised for sure.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of Tejano music, but I will say since I've left Texas, it's very difficult. I mean, obviously I can stream it, but it's not on the the radio stations here and that sort of thing, and so I haven't really followed too much of it. But man, I love the classics of the Tejano music, and like I said, I was just curious. Is that one of your influences? Because not many artists has that as an influence.
Right, yo, 100%. Yeah, 100%. There's a song that I have called "Pushing Up Daisies" that is really, really ingrained in that kind of Spanglish feel, and it has some, kind of Latin vibey guitar on it, which is just really awesome. So I think a lot of the Tejano influence is deeply rooted in that song, and hopefully a lot of the songs that I'm making here in the new year.
And who or what genres are some of your other influences?
Yeah, so I mean, I listen to everything. I grew up on literally everything from rock to country to pop to 15th century loop music. I probably give my love and appreciation of music to my parents. They introduced me to everything at such a young age. Of course, I always, really identified with country music and rock music, and that's for sure the way that I'm going sonically, at least in this new year, and really working on kind of honing in on my sound and what I want that to be and what I want that to sound like, what I want to say. And so it's definitely in the new year going to be more country rock. A lot of different influences with that. Hardy, Jelly Roll, Coetzel, maybe some edgier Miranda Lambert, some Gretchen Wilson. So I'm really, really excited to finally tap into that side of my music because, like I said, I've loved country and rock for as long as I can remember. Those are kind of like my two main loves. So kind of meshing them together is what we've been working on for a while now.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. You say mission. It's like taking a bunch of ingredients, and out comes Savannah Rae's her own music. That's her own style, her own brand, and it's doing really well. But when did you decide that music was something you wanted to do?
Yeah, so like I said before, I kind of give all of the credit to my parents. While they weren't musically inclined people per se, they don't really play anything or do anything in the music aspect, like the creative music side of things. Now my dad is my manager now, so he does the music business side of things. But they weren't really playing piano or playing guitar or anything like that. They just took me to concerts, and they kind of just showed me a whole bunch of music that's out there, and kind of helped foster that love and appreciation for it. Like at such a young age, I would say I started going to concerts at 9 or 10 years old. And then I remember specifically going to an Evanescence concert at 11 years old that my mom took me to. And I remember seeing Amy Lee, the lead singer of Evanescence, who's amazing, incredible voice. I remember seeing her up on stage, and I said, I want to be just like her. I want to do what she's doing. And thankfully, my parents took me very seriously when I said this, and they enrolled me into vocal and guitar lessons. And I had my first full band performance at this place called Sam's Burger Joint in San Antonio when I was 12. And that pretty much sealed the deal for me as far as wanting to pursue music. Like I pretty much knew right then and there that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And we really haven't stopped since.
Yeah, I was going to say you haven't looked back since then, and it's just you're taking off. And one of the songs that you have out is called All Hat, and it's kind of a fun loving song in a way, and I enjoy it. And I just want to ask, would you be willing to play that here on Hank's Corner?
Yeah, of course. Let's do it. All righty. So this is All Hat. I wrote this one with a few buddies of mine, and it's all about calling out the fake cowboys of the world. If you ever heard the term all hat, no cattle, that's the one. You're all hat, no cowboy. You're like a Hollywood version of a man that gives a damn. You're all hat, no cowboy. How can you say you love me when you don't know who I am? I need so much more than hollow words, or a hand I won't have to hold. Looks like I drew the Joker in the Emperor's New Clothes. You're always phoning in your emotions, promises like rocks hanging in the air. Got your stick horse and your cap, got lights, cameras everywhere. You're all hat, no cowboy. You're like a Hollywood version of a man that gives a damn. You're all hat, no cowboy. How can you say you love me when you don't know who I am? I need so much more than hollow words, or a hand I won't have to hold. Looks like I drew the Joker in the Emperor's New Clothes. You're all hat, no cowboy. You're like a Hollywood version of a man that gives a damn. You're all hat, no cowboy. How can you say you love me when you don't know who I am?
You're all hair, no cowboy. You're like a Hollywood version of a man is a dance. You're all hair, no cowboy. You're like a Hollywood version of a man is a dance. You're all hair, no cowboy. How can you say you love me when you don't know who I am? You're all hair, no cowboy. How can you say you love me when you don't know who I am?
And that was Savannah Rae singing one of her songs, All Hat, here on Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. And that's such a great song. I love that song. And it's nice to hear it acoustically, too. I love how that comes out.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a really fun song. And I mean, I love it acoustic and I love it, full band and everything, particularly the fiddle. I love the fiddle on that track, I will say. It's really fun.
Well, and like they say, right? If you're going to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band, right? So that's how it
Gotta have-
goes. But you mentioned that you kind of you co-wrote that with others. Most of your songs, do you have a hand in writing them?
Yes, yeah, that is one thing that's pretty important to me. I can pretty much only count on maybe one hand some songs that I've recorded that are not mine. And again, that's one hand. Like I'm pretty adamant about at least, about having most of my words in a song, just because I feel like it's so much more personal. And I love writing. I love, just being a songwriter. Like that's something that I've always been super interested in, just writing. And so I always try to have most of the song written. I'll get in the room with different co-writers and stuff. And I always say that, two brains are better than one, sometimes three brains, four brains. It depends on how many co-writers you have, but there's Nashville's really cool about that too, because there's so many songwriters here that you're able to collaborate with and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Like I said, I was just at a write about 30 minutes ago and we came up with a really cool song. So it's, I definitely do enjoy writing with other people, and I've gotten to write with some really, really awesome people, people that have written for people like John Party and Tim McGraw, and like I wrote with Typical Texas Girl. I actually wrote with Pam Tillis. So it's like all of these different people that I've gotten to write some really cool stuff with, and I can't wait for them to be out. Hopefully, fingers crossed, very soon. I can't wait for everybody to see what I've been working on.
Yeah, that would be great. And I did see a photo of you and Pam on your social media, and that's really cool. One of can't even see which direction. I always do the wrong, but Paige King Johnson. She works with Pam Tillis quite a bit, and she's just such a class act. And I just always find it neat when people have that connection. But do you remember when you first started writing?
I get asked this question a lot. I really don't. Like I don't really remember when I first started writing. Like I've been writing for as long as I can remember because I was a big reader growing up. I loved reading. I was like the kid in the classroom that won all the book competitions, like the book reading competitions. Like you read 50 books in a couple months and we'll give you a free ticket to Six Flags or something like that. I was always the winner of the free ticket because I would read something. And so that's how it started. And I loved writing stories and just, different stuff about my life. And then eventually when I figured out that you could put it to music, I was like, oh, okay, that works great. And then I kind of just started writing songs. I really don't remember when I started writing. I'm sure it was around 12 years old, kind of around the same time that I first performed on stage, just because I came out with my first single at age 14. So it had to have been around there that I could coherently and cohesively put something together. Probably 12 years old. I was probably writing a little bit before that, but it probably wasn't very good.
But we all got to start somewhere. And, when you're starting at 12 to do your first performances, was that something easy and fun for you? Or was it nerve wracking for you to be up on stage in front of people?
It was not easy and it was not fun for me. To be completely honest, I was the shy kid in the room. I always was. Like, in school, I would not talk to a soul because I was so shy, which is very ironic considering the job that I wanted to do. And it took me a very long time to get over my stage fright. Within honestly the past 6 years, maybe even 4 years, to like be completely, completely comfortable on stage. Um, but I also do think that a healthy amount of anxiousness slash nervousness is good though for performances. Like when I sang the anthem for Trump and Carrie Lake, I was terribly nervous, but for good reason.
Mhm.
That's a pretty big thing, and that's a song that you don't exactly want to screw up. So it's there's a certain pressure that is with different types of performances. So it was definitely something that I had to work through, and thankfully I've gotten a lot better. I just think it's hilarious that I was always the shyest person in the room, and I chose to be on stage in front of thousands of people every night. So it
Yeah,
makes me laugh.
yeah, and that's kind of neat to see how people, go from one, I don't want to say extreme, but from one way
Oh,
to another.
it was extreme.
But also another way to express yourself. You do a lot in social media. Are you doing all this, or do you have somebody helping you? And who's doing your photography? Because I always have to ask that.
I wish I had somebody helping me. That would make my life so much easier. Social media is honestly like a full-time job, and props to anybody that is just consistent with it, because it's a struggle sometimes figuring out what to post, and trying to grow your following and get your music out there. It is rough sometimes. The algorithms are not nice 95% of the times, and you just got to keep trucking, keep doing it. But I do everything myself. As far as pictures that are taken of me while I'm on stage, they are pictures taken. I bought a camera, so they are pictures taken by my dad. They are pictures taken by my mom and by my little brother. And that is, otherwise, I rarely ever work with photographers, unless it's, for something special like cover art, or, videographers for a music video. But other than that, it's all me. And most professional pictures that you see on my page are taken by me, with me, my camera, a little tripod, and a Bluetooth remote. So I really try to do it all.
Well, I'm definitely impressed because I think that's awesome because I know, firsthand photography and videography is not always the easiest thing. I mean, people sometimes just think you're just pushing a button and there it is. But when you're talking about branding and, having a certain look and that sort of thing, you kind of have to know what you're doing. And I pick up on these things that I can tell that you do.
I try my best. I'm not sure I know 100% what I'm doing, but I wouldn't be human if I knew, what I was doing 100% of the time. So we try our best. We try to keep it consistent. Like for instance, I'm, always wearing a black cowboy hat. So that's kind of my thing. I'm not wearing it right now, but that's I don't exactly wear my black cowboy hat when I'm writing, writing in my just graphic tee. But I try to keep it, consistent with some of the imagery that I put out there, because, it's very important branding. And especially, I always say that I want to know who somebody is. Like if I just see a silhouette of a country artist, will I be able to tell who that person is just by that silhouette? And, for people like Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, you can tell who they are if all you saw was a silhouette. So it's like branding yourself in a certain way, I think is really, really important for sure.
Yeah, that's very interesting that she said that about the silhouette. I've never thought about that, but that's something that I agree with. That you recognize that right away, and being that you're out there quite a bit now on social media and you're making the rounds, around the different states, have you started to feel any pressure about being a role model?
Um, no, no. I I think that that is a lot of pressure to put on oneself, and I appreciate the people that might think that about me. But at the same time, I'm not sure that I ever want to be or label myself as somebody to model themselves after. You know what I mean? Like I'm just me, and I'm just kind of living my life, and I do my best, and I try my best every single day. Um, and I think that it is awesome if somebody, I've gotten a lot of people that have said that to me before. Because I've done a lot of different stuff, a lot of different touring. I used to do some anti-bullying tours, where me and a whole bunch of kids, would go to different schools and talk about bullying and perform and do that whole thing. And I've had a lot of people say that to me. And I mean, I'm very flattered by it. I appreciate it so much, a lot more than they probably know. But also at the same time, I don't think I will ever tout myself as such. I make terrible decisions on the daily. So I'm like, and I'll share that with my audience too. I don't care. But we're all human. We're all just living life. And like I said, I try to do my best and try to, be cool 99% of the time and to the best of my ability. But it's that 1% sometimes. And I'm like, ooh, don't do this, guys. Don't do this at home. But yeah, I try to just keep it real with everybody.
Well, and sometimes that is actually being a role model, because the people that aren't really keeping it real, and when people find out that they do mess up, and it really hurts them and it doesn't help them at all. But like you said, we're all human, and people want to see that side of you. But I want to go ahead and give it a little bit more South Texas flavor, and do one of the songs that you covered by Freddie Fender called "Before the Next Teardrop Falls" here on Hank's Corner.
If she brings you happiness, then I wish you all the best. It's your happiness that matters most of all. But if she ever breaks your heart, if the teardrops ever stop, I'll be there before the next teardrop falls. Si te quiere de verdad y te da felicidad, te deseo lo más bueno para los dos. Pero si te hace llorar, a mí me puedes hablar y estaré contigo cuando triste estás. I'll be there anytime you need me by your side, to drive away every teardrop that you've cried. And if she ever leaves you blue, just remember I love you, and I'll be there before the next teardrop falls. And I'll be there before the next teardrop falls.
Well, welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with my special guest, Savanna Rae. So for this part, I always like to, talk about a little more things, a little bit more fun, to know a little bit more about the personal side of you. So I always like to talk about food, but even more so now that, you're from Texas, and then you can give me the Tennessee side of it too. Tell me, what are some of your favorite dishes?
So my favorite food of all time is fettuccine alfredo. And when I tell you that I eat fettuccine alfredo at least once a day, I would not be lying when I say that. I have a problem and I might need a program for it, but I love it. I love pizza. I love pasta. I love ice cream, all Italian foods. But I'm a Texas girl through and through, so I of course love Tex-Mex. I love barbecue, all that stuff. So I I will say that there is not a whole lot of great Mexican food in Tennessee. So when I
And I
think of
was going to
home,
ask about that because some people have said that there is, but being that you are from South Texas, you will give me the answer that I'm looking for. What's the closest that if I were to come up to Nashville, that would be my best bet?
I would love to be able to tell you that. I haven't found it. I
Oh.
really, truly have not found it yet. I'm on the hunt. And I mean, it's not that it's bad per se. Like some things are actually pretty good. It's just,
Hmm.
the Tex-Mex that we know and love, the enchiladas, and it's done a certain way in Texas. And it's
Yeah.
just not done like that up here, which I hope and pray that one of these days they'll get the Tex-Mex going up here. I'm not sure, but we can hope.
Yeah, and we're kind of the same way here in Florida, and my children miss the food from back there. And whenever somebody goes back, they go to a particular restaurant, they will load up a cooler full of the food, the enchiladas, and bring it over. And that's the hard way to do it. But
That's what we do. Especially if we're in the bus, we get my dad's like fancy Yeti ice chest that'll keep it cool for like 3 days straight, right? And we will load up at HEB with some fajitas, some enchiladas from some of our favorite places, like chips and queso. You name it, it is in that cooler. We even get some of like, brisket. We'll get 3 pounds of brisket and just throw it on in there so we can have it at home. So it's when we drive through Texas, we get our fix for sure.
yeah, I love that. And so when you're doing a lot of driving, obviously you're going to be listening to other music. So you're on my playlist, the Hank's Guest of Hank's Corner playlist. But who is currently on your playlist? What are you listening to?
Yeah, so I'm listening to mostly country rock. I like to get a lot of inspiration from that. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of driving, so I'm pretty much just sitting there. I do a lot of my driving as well. Like I will drive the bus and do that whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty long hours behind the wheel. So there's not a whole lot to do other than stare at the road and listen to music. So therefore, I'm always playing, Hardy, Cowetzel, Jelly Roll, a lot of new up and coming artists that are kind of delving into that country rock territory as well. They will just be on repeat. I probably need to get some new songs now that we're talking about it, but it's the same playlist. But I know the people around me are so annoyed. But it's stuff that kind of gets me thinking about what I want some of my own music to sound like. Because I think collaboration is definitely one of the biggest things, especially here in Nashville. And I'm so inspired by a lot of my fellow artists out here that I'm like, oh, that's awesome that they did this. That'd be cool to implement in one of my songs, just little things here and there that kind of help me think that of certain things that I would want to incorporate into my own personal music. Because like I said, I'm on the road so much and I'm doing a lot of the driving. So it's a great time, to just sit down and think. And thankfully I travel with some very talented musicians. So they'll also, be playing some stuff and we'll work on some stuff while we're on the road and whatnot. So it's a really cool kind of thing we got going on there.
And where are some of the favorite places that you have visit? And given the chance to go anywhere, where would you like to go?
So I actually have only 4 states left in my continental 48. We got Montana, Wyoming, and North and South Dakota. I've never been to any of those. I have not even stepped foot. So I would love to play over there, especially Montana. I heard that it's just stunning. But we've been to some really awesome places, especially last year. We got to go to Spokane, Washington, which was beautiful. We go to New Mexico almost every year for the New Mexico State Fair. They treat us so well. They always invite us back. So that's awesome. I love going to I'm kind of a mountain girl, so I'll probably choose the mountains anytime. But like I said, we've been to Florida many times last year, which was really, really cool. And I had never really been to that side of Florida. I've always been to, kind of the Cocoa Beach side, always on the right side. So getting to go to Tampa and Clearwater and all those places over there was really, really cool. And a nice change from the right side that I normally go to, and then Orlando, because my parents and my family, they love the theme parks. So
yeah, and when you say the right side, you just mean the way you're looking at it on the map. Not that the Tampa's the wrong side or anything like that.
No, I just mean like the east side of Florida.
Yeah, I got you. And obviously, I introduced you like this, and everywhere you go, you are the typical Texas girl. And I would love if you would end the podcast with that song.
Sure, let's do it. This is a song that I wrote with Pam Tillis, and I always say that her and Dolly Parton should have been from Texas, but fortunately they're not. They should have been though. But I got together with Pam and a few other buddies, and we wrote this kind of funky little typical Texas girl song. It's all about being from Texas.
If I judge you like you judge me, a pretty boy is all I see. I'm feeling underestimated, so now I'm gonna lone star stated. This is your first rodeo. There's some things you need to know about a typical Texas girl. Raw diamonds in a rhinestone world. My heart belongs where I come from, so come on, y'all. We go big or we go home, just a typical Texas girl. I'm a typical Texas girl. Stop looking down, my eyes are up here. My brain is bigger than my head. Ready and fire, my nerves are steel. Ready to roll like a wagon wheel. My sugar's laced with TNT. I'm country strong and proud to be a typical Texas girl. Raw diamonds in a rhinestone world. My heart belongs where I come from, so come on, y'all. We go big or we go home, just a typical Texas girl. I'm a typical Texas girl. I'm a typical Texas girl. Yeah, typical Texas girl. My heart belongs where I come from, so come on, y'all. Let's go big or let's go home, just a typical Texas girl. I'm a typical Texas girl. My heart belongs where I come from, just a typical Texas girl.
There you go. There's a Miss Savannah Rae singing her song, Typical Texas Girl. And, make sure that you go out and find her on all the social medias and follow her. You can see down below, you can go to the Savanna Rae, spelled RAE.com. Any places that you're going to be playing in the near future?
Yeah, so we have a lot coming up, various months all throughout the year. I think we're playing the New Mexico State Fair again. We got the Spooner Rodeo in Wisconsin. I think that's in July, I believe. We got CRS Week here in Nashville in March, which I am so excited for. It's one of my favorite weeks. And we are currently booking some really, really awesome dates for April. I think we got South Carolina, North Carolina. We're doing a whole tin roof run over there, which is going to be really, really awesome. So we are constantly booking. My schedule is changing so much that I can't even keep up with it. But I know if you look at my website, which I update as soon as I get my new dates, which is almost every day, we are playing somewhere new. So y'all just look at my website, theSavannahRae.com. all my dates are listed there. And of course, I post about them all the time too on my social media as well. So we are very excited. Me and the guys, me and my band, we're so excited to get back out on the road.
Yeah, definitely. And if anybody can get out there to see Savannah out there playing out, don't be like me. Be sure to get out there and do it because you regret that you weren't able to do it. But, Savannah, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I wish you well for this year. I know if you do half as much as last year, you're going to be very successful, but I know you're going to keep on doing it. But everybody, please check out Savanna Rae once again on all social medias, theSavannahRae.com. And Savannah, anytime you want to be a guest on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me on. I'm an independent artist, so any support means pretty much like the world. So thank you so much.